Hello beautiful people and welcome to another video. This antique pine drawers was gifted to me by one of you, and as you can see it needed a lot of help. Let me show you what I was able to do. A huge motor oil stain in a soft pine top like this, it's probably impossible to remove. There are lots of cuts in this piece and this is broken off completely. This drawer is an absolute disaster. This whole top section looks like it's been chewed out by a dog or something. The lock is missing. All the drawer fronts have dozens of dents that look like someone just took it out on this poor little thing with a hammer. I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about, but there are dozens of dents on it and they're quite deep. I think this is one of the feet. There is a problem. This is very old, and even the knobs, they have threaded inserts. Someone just handmade these, which is pretty cool. There is a huge crack on the side and another one a bit smaller. At least it comes with some spare parts. There's a chunk of drawer missing. See what I was talking about? There are just huge dents everywhere, as if someone just beat it with a hammer. Poor thing. The good thing about really old stuff, there's no flathead screws, just nails. A bit squeaky. Might need a bit of wax. I was given this gem by a lovely couple who watch my videos. They contacted me and asked me if I wanted this. They told me that the paint from this was removed 40 years ago. So it's been like this for a very long time, and it used to be painted white. It's been sat in a shed for a long time as tool storage, hence the motor oil on top, all the holes and cuts and everything else, so it has seen a lot of abuse. I think I've got an idea how to preserve as many of these parts as possible. I do need to glue this together. Actually, if I'm completely transparent, when I met with Ian, because he's the one that I met to pick up the drawers from, he said that he doesn't watch my videos, so, you know, sad face. Obviously, I'm joking. He was super nice though. I'll make some of the small repairs now when I can. Because this is really old, it's an antique. This is the piece that I removed from the top, and even though I'm not going to reuse it on the top, I think because I need to make some repairs, I'm going to use the original wood because this just makes the most sense and it will give me the best match and no waste. This week is really hot in the UK, so if you can hear the fan in the background. Let's see which parts we can actually reuse. This looks like I know where this belongs. I think this is one of the feet. Another one. Definitely need these. I think that this is where it belongs. Who doesn't like a full drawer of spare parts? This huge crack is a result of wood movement. I'm going to see whether I can move these boards together with the clamp, and if I can't, I won't be able to reglue it. So there is no movement. And also because this is just attached to other structures, so the best thing to do is to cut a thin piece of wood and just basically slide it in and close the gap. And I wouldn't be able to use this for anything else, but I think it will be just about perfect for this purpose. And also because I want to save the other piece, because I've got lots of other repairs I need to make. The crack is a bit thinner here and it actually curves, so I need to taper one end. I need to glue this because it's cracked. And for this part I'm going to use hide glue in case someone wants to take this apart. Because in case you don't know, hide glue is reversible, so it's pretty easy to undo it, and if you use white glue, it's basically stuck. I guess I spoke too soon about the flathead screws, because I've got some and they're very rusty. They are not holding on to anything. These drawers will need a proper clean, so I'll see if I can take the bottoms out. It's a good thing I just bought this the other day, because I need it. As a thing missing, I'll need to replace this. And this is why you need a tiny grinder thingy. It is so incredibly hot today. I'm literally melting. You will hear this quite a few times in this video. Pretty happy with this. There's a tiny gap, so I'm just going to put some glue in here. And Bob's your uncle. As far as this crack, it just isn't big enough to put a piece of wood in it, so I'm just going to use some wood filler. There's another one here, but I can see that there's a lot of movement, so I can put some glue in there and clamp it together, and this should work well. This one is really tight, so I need an extremely thin piece of wood. I'm gonna let this dry, and there are some tiny bits left, but I'm going to use wood filler for those because I can't fit any pieces in those tiny cracks. This is the next day. I didn't get much work done because it was super hot. I know I'm normally a professional, but it's so freaking hot that I'm wearing flip-flops and I don't care. I think that the best way to celebrate this beautiful weather is with a sanding montage. I'm literally waiting for an article in a local paper about a cycle walking around with a drawer and a sander. So because I've got the top and I know what I'm working with, I'm going to basically cut off this routed edge and I'll put the new top on. And this way I don't need to replace all of these pieces. I can save some of it, but I do need to cut this off because there is not much I can do with it. This back has some issues. There's one of these missing over here, and this one is broken, and this one is broken. As you can see, this is not attached very well because I can just take it off with my fingers. So because one is missing and the remaining two are broken, I'm basically going to make 3 new ones, and I'm using the wood that I salvaged from the top because it's pretty much the same thickness. And after I cut them to size and did a little bit of sanding, they're ready to be put on the back. So this is from the top that I salvaged, and as you can see, it's really thin. So I'm actually glad that I'm replacing it with something a bit more sturdy. If you can hear the fan in the background, I apologize, but I'm literally melting. I don't want this to split, so I'm going to drill pilot holes. And I actually have some old style nails that I'm going to use for this. Quick hydration break and back to work. Jesus, I just realized how sweaty I am. Sorry about it, but it's really hot. This is, by the way, a drink from Peru. It's called Chincha Morada. When I lived in Chicago, I knew people from Peru and they made this for me. It's so good and so refreshing. They actually added some apples to it, which I did as well. And it's so good. Because this is so old, it's obviously worn out, and I think I'll just need to replace this edge. And looks like this needs to be fixed. And there's one missing on the other side. And there is no drawer stoppers. This looks like it's long enough. Here's the plan. I'm going to cut off a very thin strip of this piece just to cut off the damage, and then I'll replace it. Alright, looks like this is going to work just fine. As always, quick thank you to all of you beautiful people for watching my videos, commenting, liking and hyping, because that helps a lot with the algorithm. And a special shout out to the channel members, you guys are the best. Hello there. What's up, trouble? What do you think about my project? Do you approve? You must be hot with all the fluff on you. If you enjoy my videos, I would appreciate if you subscribe. It's completely free, and if you do so, YouTube will notify when I post a new video. And if you're feeling generous and would like to support what I do, you can find all the links in the description of this video. Thank you. Just found another problem. I hope you can see this. These are very deep and very serious dents, and they're just dozens and dozens of them everywhere. So before I do anything else with it, I'm going to try some moisture and heat to see how much I can improve it, so I don't need to remove too much material. You can't see that, but this is now very soft. And hopefully it will expand and become more flat. This takes a while, but I think there is a pretty good chance I'll be able to make it look much better. Unfortunately, the fibers are broken, but I think I still will be able to make this look much better than it was. I'm going to take this outside so it can dry properly before I do anything else. You can still see the paint that was underneath the knob, and I guess this is the original finish, which is like dark brown or something like that. Here's my plan for fixing the drawer, and I hope it's gonna work. So I just want to set the blade so it doesn't cut into the side, and I think that's about right. So it seems like I got it just right because it's completely flat. And now I'm just going to replace this. I'm going to use this piece of the original top, so it actually looks more or less the same. Hello beautiful people, it's another really hot day, but I'm determined to finish this project. So I left this to dry overnight, and now I'm just going to cut all the bits I don't need to make it flat, and Bob's your uncle. This could be actually a good way to cover some damage. It's extremely thin. Alright, it looks decent now, so I can address this problem. I guess you can see what I'm doing, so I don't need to explain it too much, but I basically cut a line to make sure the surface was flat and straight, and then I traced the angle so I could actually cut a piece that would match the missing bit and replace it. It's all nice and dandy, but this chest of drawers doesn't have a top. So I sourced this from Facebook Marketplace. This is an old table slash desk which was made from the dense type of pine that I needed for this project. This chest of drawers is missing 2 locks for the drawers, and obviously they are very old and not easy to find an exact match. How amazing it is that the table that I bought, not only it's got 2 locks, which is exactly how much I need, they're exactly the same style. That is amazing. And they are almost the same size. They're a bit bigger, but that's actually not a problem because I can just enlarge the opening. And these are proper brass. Really nice. Not plated, solid brass. Fun fact, someone tried to fix this with a band-aid. I'm also going to salvage this part from the table because it's pretty much the same thickness as the little feet that I need to replace. It's actually exactly the same thickness. That's pretty cool. I think the woodworking gods are looking after me, and this way that old crappy table slash desk can live on as an antique chest of drawers. I'm going to cut the top first so I can get it out of my workshop because it takes too much space. It's got lots of holes in it all around it, so I'm going to cut this off. Come on, trouble! I'm working in case you can't see that. During a snack, or is it too hot? I don't think there is such a thing as too hot for snacks. Okay, so this is roughly to the size. It's a bit too big, but that's on purpose. I'm going to tweak it later, but I just wanted to make sure I can actually cut out a piece that doesn't have any major damage and I can clean it up nicely. And because this is old and it's got lots of imperfections, I'm probably going to leave some of this in to match the rest of it so it doesn't look brand new. I don't know what it is about the UK, because I've lived in much warmer places, but 30 degrees in the UK with this humidity, it just feels like nothing else. I need to replace this drawer guide, but I'm going to give this a sand before I do it, because it will make it easier. Before you start typing in the comments that the numbers are not very impressive, it's just the fact that this is not normal in the UK. That's why it feels so extreme. Plus, it's just a weird thing about humidity in the UK. I'm going to use this old piece from the back as a sort of brace. For example, I grew up in Poland, so when I was a kid, minus 15 or minus 20 wasn't anything unusual. It was pretty normal in the winter. Plus, the summers were much hotter than in England, but it just feels different here. And also, I'm just not used to that sort of temperatures anymore. And now I need to make new feet. This one is okay, but this one is a little damaged, so I think instead of replacing it, I'll just cut a tiny bit of this one and make all the other ones the same length. And just to clarify, the reason I decided to go with the brace thingy for the bottom is because this isn't a shelf, because there's a drawer that goes inside, so it doesn't bear any load, so it doesn't really matter. I just didn't want it to, squeak and move. Once I cut the feet to the right length, I rounded the corners because this way they'll be more durable and also they won't scratch any floors. There's actually a nail sticking out here, so I'm just going to use it. After I glued the feet in place, I put those little support pieces where they came from. One of them was actually missing and one I had to remove in order to put the foot in. I had to aim my fan at the camera because it keeps turning off because it's too hot and it's overheating. And because my camera kept turning off, I couldn't record even if I wanted to. Well, technically I'm at work. Almost in my workshop. I think it's gonna be a struggle to go back to work because it's so nice and it's so hot.
A few moments later.
Now that I feel a bit refreshed, I can do some sanding. That was definitely enough sanding for the day and I needed a cat break. Fortunately, Hugo and Mando are always around and in exchange for small payment in snacks, they're happy to give me cuddles and emotional support so I can keep going. Do you approve? Looks like you're pretty happy. Now that I was able to cool down a little bit and I had a cat break, I can go back to work. The repair on the side of the drawer was dry and I just needed to shave it down a little bit with my hand plane so it was the right thickness. In case it wasn't clear what I was doing, I had to plane the drawer fronts because after using moisture and heat, I was able to improve a little bit the dents, but obviously not enough, so I had to remove some of the surface. And because the dents were so deep, sanding would have taken forever, so planing was the way to go. After sanding the bottoms of the drawers, there were still lots of stains, so I used oxalic acid and I left them outside to dry quickly so I could put another coat and eventually rinse them with water. And I'm happy to report that the oxalic acid did a wonderful job and I was able to remove pretty much all the stains. Now I just need to put everything together and I'm ready for the next step. Because the knobs are in a pretty terrible condition, I'm using hydrogen peroxide to give them a good clean, and once I'm done with this, I'm using oxalic acid to bleach them because they just work differently, and as you will see, the result was actually pretty satisfying. And now I'm using oxalic acid and you can see that it gives them this gray color, but this is only because they're wet. And because I didn't want to waste the oxalic acid, I used it on the top. A chunk of this knob was missing, so I glued this piece of wood, and now I'm going to shape this so it looks like the rest of the knob. There are lots of tiny cracks in the top, so I'm going to put some wood filler so it's a smooth surface. Even though I didn't need to remove any paint for a change, this project was so much work and so many repairs, so I hope you guys are enjoying this. As you remember, two of the locks were missing and they were slightly different size, so I had to enlarge the openings in the top two drawers. I painted the old ones because they didn't look very nice, and this way they match the rest of the hardware. Now I need to sort this top. Looks really red, even though I bleached it. But I need to decide what I want to do as far as the edge. And the redness doesn't really matter because I'm going to stain this as it was stained originally, and with this project I'm trying to do a sympathetic restoration, so I'm not doing anything crazy. I want it to look pretty much just as good as it used to. If you can see the swirly patterns on the top, don't you worry, I'll take care of that. I think that's a pretty cool color. And even though I'm doing a sympathetic restoration and I'm not changing much, one way to elevate this piece is by giving it a really cool posh color, which is dark wenge. There was a very strange swirly pattern that I could see after I stained this. I don't know why, so I'm redoing the top. Surprise, surprise. Because this was solid wood and I didn't have the top coat on, so I simply sanded it off and did it again. I feel like there is a little bit of purple in the dark wenge color, so I'm going to use plum mahogany on the knobs. It's not going to be dramatically different color, but it will be different enough. I know I often change a lot when I work on old pieces, I've said it many times that there's time and place for everything, and this time I felt like this piece needed a sympathetic restoration, so I tried to keep it as close to the original as I could, and I didn't know exactly what color it was originally, so I decided to go with this one, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I think this color really complements the age of this chest of drawers. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the final results. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one.